Hello, we're back again. I have just finished interviewing Joan French, and now we have her two daughters, Simone and Monique French. And they are both class students of St. Andrew High School. Sitting beside me is Simone French, and Simone, would you like to tell us when it was that you attended St. Andrew High School and your most memorable time when you were here?
Well, I came to St. Andrew in 1980 from Queen's Prep School, where my mother was a teacher at the time. And I was very clear that I did not want to attend Queen's High School. And I don't think there was really any other choice for me but St. Andrew High School. I remember very clearly my first day here in first form. I was sent to the staff room to Mrs. James to collect something for the teacher. And I distinctly recall the heavy sensation when she said, "Simone French, you're Joan's daughter. Your mother did very well here." And I just felt like somebody dropped a rock stone in me because I was just thinking, okay, I have this expectation to live up to. By that time I had seen my mother's sexy, yes, with all the ones and the distinctions. So you were well aware that your mother had done very well, as Mrs. James put it. So that was sort of my introduction. It was the very first day. And then of course, subsequent to that, I don't know if Monique felt that way, but you go to prayers every day, and on the board in the hall, you look up and you see your mother's name. And Auntie Polly as well, if I remember correctly. We had an aunt who also, so you're looking up at your family at names every day, the centenary scholarship. I don't remember which one Auntie Polly got, but it was on the board every day. It was a constant sort of subtle reminder that there was some sort of history and some sort of tradition to live up to. To be honest, it was never really something that was reinforced from home. You never really had her saying, you know, I got a scholarship, you better get one too. Which was fortunate because I did not get a scholarship to university. So it's probably good that she did not have that kind of hang-on. But for the most part, St. Andrew High School really was a great experience for me. I can't pick out one, perhaps a teacher who I would say perhaps, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Yvette who was my biology teacher. She taught me sciences, she taught me biology. And Mrs. Boothe was very enthusiastic about teaching biology, and perhaps she is the person that swung me over to biological sciences and eventually into doing medicine. But I had a lot of good teachers. Mrs. Boothe, I can recall not just being excited about her subject, but I remember we had a blind student that came in, I believe it was formed to do exams. And what struck you was her excitement. It was not a burden to her to teach the students. She viewed it as an exciting thing. So she was asking for things to help to put together for this girl to feel, to know the structure of the DNA helix, and maybe. So she did not view it as a burden. She viewed it as a challenge, an opportunity to find a way to teach this girl something that was very visual when she couldn't see. And I think that's important because I think a lot of the school system nowadays, I don't know how many people there are who have that kind of excitement for what they do. And I think us modern day students may suffer. Certainly, I have a son in high school and I think that there is a lot to be desired. We will do that alone for now. But there were a lot of other good teachers. Mrs. Smith taught me physics. Mrs. Smith was very dry in her own way, but and insisted on, excellence. And I recall her saying to me, I think after O levels, I think I had gotten a, what did I get for physics at O levels? It's amazing to think that these things probably get to a point in life where they're no longer important. But I think I had gotten a 2 or something, and she looked at me and she said, "Oh, can you imagine if you had actually worked?" This kind of thing, you posted. You kind of posted into that too. Now, can you imagine if you had actually applied yourself? So Mrs. Smith was good. We also had, I remember, an English teacher, a visiting teacher from Australia, who fit in quite well. And I remember she had a unique, she took us, it was the first time I couldn't stand poetry. Poetry made no sense to me. Poetry still makes very little sense to me. But she did not take this standard approach. She took us out on the field and we had to hug up a tree and touch a tree and feel a tree and listen to the leaves. And then we were to go back and compose 4 stanzas. No, I still wasn't very good at it, I'm sure. But I think at least I got a better idea of what somebody who writes poems is trying to achieve. So I think that the teachers here they got a sense. I can't think of a teacher at Andrews who I think didn't like students lie. There was one. And it's interesting that my mother spoke about a teacher who did not renew her contract because I sort of, we had a teacher who came in for a year, a young girl, but very rigid. And I'll never forget, she would make us recite a prayer. This was the first time this ever happened. About third form. And we had to say, light nor darkness, we beseech thee, O Lord, and by thy great mercies, defend us from all the perils and dangers of this night. I've never forgotten it. And you had to do it at the end of, before they released the class. But you were to get up and not make a single sound with the chair. And if you made a sound, she would make you sit down, stand up and repeat it. And this could take, literally, the class was not going to be dismissed. So a group of us decided that we had had enough of her and her foolishness. So we decided, every minute we get up, we scrape the chair, just stand on her. Eventually, she gave this huge class attention, put us all out. And the long and the short of it was, she really did not come back the following term. I think she decided that we were too much for her and she left. So that was my little rebellion. I think the good thing about St. Andrew High for me, because I can recall several instances of being sent to the staff room, what I consider to be displays of spirit, rather than, out and out insubordination. And I think St. Andrew allowed you to have a spirit, while I can recall when we spoke about debating in, what did it, general paper? GP class.
Oh,
so you had these debates and one of them was about prostitution. And I dared to advance the opinion that those who were, of course, the general sentiment prostitution was wrong. And I said, well, I don't know. I've never been in a position where I don't know where my next meal is coming from. And I dare to advance the opinion that there may be persons who find themselves in positions where they literally cannot see another. And I remember distinctly that the teacher moderated the class. It was clearly not her view, but she did not put me in a position where I felt that I couldn't say it. So even though she clearly didn't agree with me, I was allowed to say it. And I suppose now that I have my own child, and I see, what is happening in the school system, I can appreciate more that I was in a school system that allowed me to have my own opinion. Hockey didn't choose me. You mentioned hockey. I was actually thrown on the field because I didn't have anybody to play. And a sixth former came and said, you have your PE gears? Come. And I think I played with the round end of the stick. I didn't know what end of the stick to hit the ball with. We got beaten severely by Anderson. I was in our house. But then subsequently, they came to me afterwards and said, come to training. And I was like, okay, because I was not to that point an athlete. I had asthma as a child. I was never really allowed. You couldn't do this because you have asthma. So up to that point, this was the athlete in the family. Up to that point. So I really didn't see myself as somebody who could really do anything athletic. And I was allowed that opportunity and played for the junior team and the senior team at school. And then this one followed behind me. So, and it was a good experience. Hockey was a good experience because, not always, because it forced you to organize your time. And I remember distinctly when I was going for O-levels, Mommy tried to stop me from playing hockey because she felt to focus on the exams. And I tried for about 2 weeks and I went to her and I said, please, let's make a deal. I will not bring any grade in here below D+. But please let me go back to hockey because it's not working for me. I need to be. And she said, okay, remember, the grades can drop below X. And that was the understanding. And I think I kept up my end of the bargain. And then after sixth form, I actually did not go straight to medical school. Actually, was not one of those students who knew exactly what they wanted to do. I went into natural science. I applied to medical school, but I wasn't accepted straight off, and I did a natural science degree. And while there, I did some more courses like zoology and biochemistry that were biologically related.